All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for Weather Where You Are this morning. I am First Alert Meteorologist Courteney Jacobazzi. We are talking about spring because, yes, it has sprung. At least it almost has. And it's clearly a very cold start to the new season. Spring officially begins at 11:06 p.m. tonight. So technically we're in the last few hours of winter, but it's not feeling like spring at all as we're all gearing up for this new season. So this morning in Atlanta, we dropped down to 33 degrees. Yeah, that is winter-like, right? The record low, though, for this morning is 17 degrees. That was set back on 1892, I should say, on this day in 1892. Now, our typical last freeze, because some of us did go below freezing this morning, not until March 20th. So this isn't necessarily abnormal that we see temperatures go near or below freezing this time of year. Our normal low, though, when you take the 30-year average of this day, you take all the lows on this day over the last 30 years, normally it's 46 degrees on average. So definitely below that by a handful of degrees. And we do have some fairly cold days on the way. Let me grab my clicker over here. On the way, cold mornings on the way the next several days. High temperatures today also going to be below average. Our average high is 67. Wouldn't that be fantastic with sunshine? But unfortunately, we're going to ring in a handful of degrees below that. Some spots even upwards of maybe 10 plus degrees cooler than average for the day today. Now, looking back on the first day of spring over the past couple of years, we've actually had a handful of cold starts to spring since 2021. So 2021, March 20th was the start of spring. Of course, we had leap year this year, so that knocked our day back a day. But nonetheless, we started spring at 58 degrees, the average again 67. 2022 was a warmer spring, so that felt more on par with the season. Really, really nice, closer to 70 degrees. But then even last year, we were colder than we were today for the start of spring, with a high temperature on March 20th of 55 degrees. And of course, today we're on track to hit 60. So it's been worse. Even though we had a really cold start, it's been worse for the start of spring. We have felt more winter-like in years past than we will today. So that's kind of how we compare when it comes to the first day of spring over the past several years. The one over the past 4 that has been above average was in 2020. So looking ahead to some warmer days, and we will go closer to average as we make our way through the week. In fact, we'll rebound back into the low 70s tomorrow. It's going to be a really nice day. So for our first full day of spring, we will head above average again with temperatures in low 70s. Low 70s on the way for Thursday, but then notice we're going to go right back below average. So a little bit of a roller coaster of a week temperature wise, not necessarily quite settling into the season just yet. We have a handful of weather systems, including a first alert weather day on Friday, which will help promote those cooler temperatures, especially on Friday into Saturday. Here's a look at our morning lows. So our morning lows will also stay below average for the most part over the next several days. Our average low in the mid 40s. So tomorrow morning it will be another cold start, and then we'll gradually warm up over the next couple of mornings. But notice even heading into the start of next week, we have another dip in temperatures. So you'll need the coat, especially Wednesday morning, tomorrow morning, and then Sunday morning as well, and Monday morning. Just something to think about as we head into the weekend, the end of the weekend, and into the start of next week. While the season has begun, again, it just doesn't look like we're necessarily settling into it just yet, temperature-wise. Something that we will just keep crossing our fingers for, that Georgia eventually figures out what season we're supposed to be in, right? Now, we do have our Climate Prediction Center is going to show you, once I skip past this graphic, because I totally clicked on our car wash graphic in case you were wondering when you could go wash your car this week. It's going to be really nice the next couple of days, so you will be able to do that. This is where I was trying to get at. When it comes to the Climate Prediction Center, we are looking, as we head into the end of March, unfortunately, at near or below average temperatures for Atlanta. We're looking at slightly below average temperatures. So it looks like we're going to head into this cooler and wetter pattern as we round out the month. And the rain, I think, has a lot to do with that. So looking at the upper levels of our atmosphere, it just doesn't look like we're going to get a huge dip. So I don't necessarily see a hard freeze happening in the foreseeable future. But the rain is going to prevent our temperatures from warming from all the beautiful sunshine and the longer days that we're going to receive. So I think the rainier weather that could be on the way over the next several plus, of course, a lot of cold fronts move through this time of year. Our severe weather season is ongoing, and those cold fronts usually play a role in that, right? So it looks like we are going to head into a little bit of an active pattern heading through the next several weeks into the end of the month, leading to a slightly rainier stretch of days and also a cooler than normal stretch of days. Not only for us, but for most of the lower 48. The only ones that are going to be above average is the Northeast, and I guess they could take that because it's been pretty cold there the past couple of weeks. So that's what we're looking at as we start spring and round out the month and go through the first few weeks of spring. Again, today near 60, not the coldest we've been over the past several spring starts. So I know a lot of us are probably complaining that it is not necessarily feeling like the new season, but it's just not new to us here in Georgia. This time of year is always a little wacky because you have all the cold fronts moving through. We're just trying to figure out, do we want to be winter still? Do we want to be spring still? The atmosphere's got a lot going on this time of year. A lot of warm air masses and cold air masses fighting each other, and sometimes the cold just happens to win. So that seems to be the case today and as we head into the next several. Now, I do want to talk about one of our weather systems that is going to bring us rain and help cool us down over the weekend. Here's a look at our first alert weather day for Friday. This is going to bring widespread rain potentially as early as Friday morning, and then it will continue to move along the Atlantic coast as we head into Friday night. A low pressure center is going to form in the Gulf. That's going to kick up a lot of moisture as we head into the end of the week. So first, it'll build cloud cover as we wait for the physical low to move through the southeast. What it'll do first is change our wind direction and allow for a lot of moisture to get pulled in from the Gulf. And then that front will come through, or that weather system rather will move through, bringing us the widespread rain throughout the day on Friday. Now, it could also extend, and we'll take you a little further in time here, could extend into Saturday. So while Friday morning into the afternoon could be rainy, take a look. If this low deepens enough, if it moves slower, if it moves a little further north, there's a lot of questions with this, that could linger rain into Saturday. And as I mentioned, remember, this start of spring off to a pretty chilly start, and if we continue to get rain, that will prevent our temperatures, at least in some capacity, if the timing is right, from warming to near average, which again is closer to 70 degrees. And this is one of those examples. If we get these showers in the morning, plus the lingering moisture and some cloud cover on Saturday, that's going to keep our temperatures potentially in the 60s, low 60s on Saturday rather than the mid to upper 60s, which is where, again, we should be for this time of year. So we'll keep an eye on Saturday for you as, again, there is still some question marks. There are still some question marks, rather, for the day on Saturday. We have to wait for that low to kind of develop for models to really get a good handle on it. But Saturday does, unfortunately, have the potential to be fairly rainy, something that we're going to watch for you really carefully. I want to show you our 7-day forecast because this will show you just how chilly our spring is kicking off. When I just take a glance at this, we only have 3 days over the next 7 that are going to be above average for where we should be this time of year. We were looking a little earlier, First Alert Meteorologist Ella Dorsey and I, at when our average high goes to 70 or above. It goes to 70 at the end of March, and then very quickly after bumps into the low 70s at the beginning of April. So it won't be long before our average highs are going to be really comfortable and where I personally would love them to be. But of course, naturally, the weather has to cooperate with that and go near average, right? And it just doesn't look like that's necessarily going to be the case. But below average in spring, definitely better than below average in winter, right? Because our average high is definitely warmer. So we'll keep an eye on it, but just taking a glance, the start of spring as we go through the first kind of full week, looking a little on the cooler side than where we should be with the exception of a couple of days. Of course, today near 60, our suburbs will be in the upper 50s, mid to upper 50s, and then low 70s tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a great day, the best day of the week. Low 70s, a lot of sunshine. And then we'll see clouds build on Thursday ahead of that rain, which is our first alert weather day on Friday. So we just want to give you that heads up. And it looks like we'll keep a rain chance even into Saturday, with mostly sunny skies returning on Sunday, and then it looks like Monday we will be mostly cloudy. So the spring season, again, officially begins just after 11 o'clock tonight, and we will welcome that in with a cold start to the morning. As you can see, we'll be near 40 degrees tomorrow morning, so a lot of the suburbs will be in the upper 30s. Unfortunately, you're keeping that winter coat. We're not getting into the new season and tossing all of the winter wear that comes with the winter season away right away. You'll definitely need it as you head out the door tomorrow, but the afternoon will end up feeling exactly like the season. You'll be able to get maybe some of your yard work done with your spring gardens that I'm sure are blooming, or in my case, there are weeds growing in my yard, but what can you do about that? You got to just pull them and then go on from there. And then we'll look ahead to that rain returning on Friday. So I hope everyone can enjoy the start to this new season, even though it's off to a cooler start. That's not abnormal for us. The past few springs have been a little on the chilly side, but we will embrace the warm days when they finally arrive. At some point in the season, we will settle into those nice and warm days and be able to enjoy all the beautiful things of spring, like the flowers and all the beautiful pastel colors that pop up. And of course, one of my personal favorite things about spring, baseball. That'll return really soon as well. And as soon as we get closer to opening day for the Braves, we'll have that forecast for you, because that'll be here before we know it. So, all right, everyone, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Stay warm today, because it is going to be a little on the cool side over the next several hours, and we'll catch you here tomorrow for whether you are at 11:30.